And just bring your feet together and stand tall. Hello Esther, I haven't got a bed for you. Stand tall, but be actually quite relaxed. So not working too hard. So bring your feet together if you can, otherwise lower legs together. Feel like you're lengthening your spine, and then I want you to just really switch everything on. So you're actually going to think about pushing your feet, almost pushing your feet into the floor. So yeah, waking up the muscles if you like. So think about the 3 points of contact: big toe joint, little toe joint and heel. And think about your arches, making sure that they're not collapsed, that they are, you know, a natural arch. And almost, I feel like I'm pushing down and it's activating the muscles underneath my foot. And then make sure that I can feel myself wobbling a little bit from side to side. Make sure that you're really equally weighted between both feet. And then as we work our way up from the floor, so I'm really using the floor, think about squeezing the legs together. And hopefully notice that activates pelvic floor, inside thighs, and it just gives me this extra sense of length. Then I'm going to think about sending my tailbone down towards the floor and lifting the crown of my head up towards the ceiling. Imagine I'm in the room with you and I'm just hovering my hand above your head, and you're just going to lift the top of your head just up to touch my hand. So we're lifting the ribcage off of the pelvis, lengthening the whole of the spine, working really quite hard now. And then think about the arms. So at the moment my arms are just hanging by my side, just completely relaxed, not really doing anything. I want you to spread your fingers and your thumbs far apart, and then just turn the palms to face forwards. And keep those fingers and thumbs spread apart. And just notice how that will hopefully activate and heighten your awareness of the muscles around the shoulder blades in the back. So although it looks like it's hardly any different apart from the arm position, I guess, the hand position and arm position, I'm now actually working really quite hard. So maybe close your eyes and think about all those points, work from the floor upwards again, so pushing the feet into the floor, pushing the feet together if you can, squeezing the legs together, sending the tailbone down, lifting the crown of the head, the top of your head up towards that imaginary hand that's just above your head. Bring your attention to your collarbone, the chest is opened at the front, fingers and thumbs are spread far apart. It's actually, I'm very aware that I'm really stretching them as far apart as I can. I've closed my eyes so that I can highlight my, sort of really tune into my awareness as it is, and I'm working quite hard. Muscles around the shoulder blades in my back are switched on a little bit. I can feel myself gently just rocking from side to side. That's perfectly natural. And now let's just add some breathing to this. So big breath in through the nose. Observe, where does that breath go? And breath out through the mouth. When you take your breath out through the mouth, think about drawing your belly button away from your from the elastic that's on your leggings or your shorts or whatever. So draw the belly button in and away, as if the elastic, the clothing is hot. Breath in, notice where does that breath go? Hopefully all around the rib cage, into your sort of armpits, sideways, but also back and front. And then as you take that breath out, drawing everything in, and then have a little relax. Open up those eyes. Good job. Not quite hard work at just adding all those things together. Brilliant. Let's just take a standing dart prep. So thinking about that arm rotation. So we're going to repeat this when we're on the floor. So let's have the feet let's have them just slightly outside hip width apart, or on the outside edge of your hips as opposed to your hip bones, I guess. Actually, if I turn to the side, so naturally, if we don't think about it too much, this shoulder tip rounds forwards a little bit. So that's the first thing we want to do. In fact, let's take the front of the shoulders forwards, centre, back, centre. Forwards, centre, back, centre. So when I'm, it's almost like if you could see me from above, I would be making a curve from here across my back to the other side, a forwards curve. When I'm in the centre, I've got a straight line. When I'm pinning my shoulders back, it's not a very big curve, not as big as the first one, but I'm thinking of a curve the other way. So one's convex, one's concave. I'll leave you to sort out which one of those you think it is. So when we're lying on the floor and we let the shoulders round forwards, we come into this position. So actually all I want you to do now is relax forwards to this position. Because we're not working against gravity, we're going to place those shoulders forwards there. And then just bring them into that lovely straight line. So just let them, push them forwards and then pin them back a little bit. So from the side, they're rounded, there's this curve here, and then I'm drawing them back so they're in line with my plumb line. Holding them back there. Now I'm going to, so all this time when we're on the floor, the arms have been relaxed and heavy, not getting involved in this movement. So now I'm going to take my arms back a little bit, so from the, slightly back from the side seam, and then turn the hands out like what we did just now, but I'm thinking more of trying to get my palms to face the sides of the room and just holding that there, and it's quite, again, quite strenuous. And then letting everything relax, having a little slump, maybe a little shoulder shrug just to release that. Let's do one more of those. So shoulders naturally, let them naturally round forwards, maybe over exaggerate it a little bit. Bring the shoulder tips back on their own. Push the arms back towards the wall behind you. Hold them back there and then rotate. There is your dart, but we're standing up. So dart with the upper body, standing up as opposed to being on the floor. Holding that there. It's not a sense of squeezing the shoulder blades together, more a sense of just opening up at the front of the chest. Great. Okay, we are going to take a nice gentle roll down, half a roll down with your hands on your legs. I'm going to go sideways again, keeping the feet where they are. And then we're going to reverse up with the head. So have a little look. So we're mobilising the spine. So I'm taking my head up and over, bending my knees. This is meant to be really gentle, just a gentle warm up. Hands are on my legs, fingertips facing towards my knees. And then I'm going to arch my back in the opposite direction and lift up and maybe just look up. And then come up and over, bend your knees at the same time. And then stick your bottom out, so just changing the shape of your spine. Rounding over, arching the back. And because we're on a slower pace today, I want you to just really heighten your awareness of how you're moving through space. How does this feel? Rounding. Feel like you're going through every single vertebrae and making it nice and fluid. Well done. So gentle roll down halfway. Great, and then we're going to take our hands out to the side. So this, again, heightening your awareness. We're looking at mobilising the ribcage spine. Bring your hands to your side and really flex your hands. So thinking about the heel of the palm, and this might make you feel a little bit tingly in the fingertips. Can be a little bit nervy. Maybe let's take the feet to shoulder width apart, nice and parallel. Standing up nice and tall. Feel like you're pushing the hands down and lifting the head up in the opposite direction. And then just lift the arms out to the side. And feel like you're trying to touch the sides of the room with the heel of your palm, like you're actually pushing the wall away. And both arms are going in opposite direction. Even. The shoulders are down, the neck is long, and again it still feels a little bit nervy, but I'm also very aware of around my shoulder blades. Imagine you're in a big bubble, like a sphere, and you're going to bring your arms forwards and you're trying to continue to stretch to that outside of that bubble, all the way forwards. When you get forwards, just bend your knees and push your upper back away from those hands, so you're there. and then you're opening up. I'm still trying to touch the edges, straightening my legs, and I'm continuing to try and touch the edges, pinning those arms back a little bit and lifting the chest without too much arching of that lower back, what I call gymnast mode. Trying to send that tailbone down a little bit, but it's not too bad if you let that go a bit. So reaching forwards, now take a big breath out, and then a breath in, and a breath out. Try not to relax those fingers, keep them pushing away. Breath in, breath out. So as I'm helping this, I'm helping this movement by bending my knees, tucking my pelvis under, pushing the upper back away from my hands. 2 more. Breath in, breath out, breath in, and last one, breath out, and rounding over. Well done. It's a little bit strong around the neck and everything. Good. I want to look at rotation of the hips. No, I don't. I want to take some side bends first of all. Okay, so this is a really nice stretch to get our rib cage lifted off of our hips. So we're going to take the arms up to the side, palms are up, all the way up, and you're going to bring your arms up above your head and bring your palms together here. You can't quite see my hands, I haven't got the camera wide enough, but I might go back a little bit. So we're there, palms are up, and you're reaching all the way up to palms together, and then imagine you're just like a fish. You're wiggling through the water, and so look up and just get a little wiggle either side. So I've just noticed that when I started that, you could only see a little bit of my tummy, and now I've lifted up so much that you can see the whole lot, both sides. It's not necessarily pretty, and then I'm going to lower the arms, so that's lengthening that spine, like my reach is up, but just a slightly different way of doing that. And let's do that one more, just relax again. Pull the top down a bit. So arms are out to the side, palms are up. We're looking up, palms are together, and then I'm just going to try and take a little more stretch each side. Great. Hold everything up there. Pitch that weight forwards onto the balls of the feet so that you can tap both heels at the same time. Stay looking up. Keep that length. Now just let one arm drop down. Keep the other one reaching up. Lower your eye line so that you're looking forwards rather than up. And now just stretch this side, all up this long side. And then sweep the arms round and swap over. Reaching up and sweep the arms round. So this one's nice and relaxed, head is relaxed, this arm is really reaching up to the ceiling, so I'm getting a wonderful strong side bend stretch, but without having to bend too far over. It's more of a lengthening and a reach up. Let's do one more each side. Lifting up, so the focus is up with this one, letting everything else relax. Really should have worn a different top today with let that head relax and coming back down. Great. Okay, so side bends. So we've mobilised the spine, we've mobilised the thoracic spine, we've taken some sort of ripple motion, we've done a little bit of side bend stretching. I want you to think about rotation at the pelvis. So bring your feet a bit closer together again. Place your hands on your hips and think and look down and think about your hip bones. Imagine the ASIS at the front of your hips. Imagine there's a sticker on each one. In fact, you could maybe make a soft fist and just put your hands on your hips there. Stay looking down and just allow those hips and your shoulders to rotate, and your ankles a little bit as well. So we're rotating around the spine. I want you to look down so that you can see, and actually when you look down, I quite like this, touch your fingertips to your temples, to your head. As you look down, I can see everything rotating, but I'm keeping my head absolutely in the middle. So therefore I know that my spine is in the middle, but I'm rotating around that spine. And now I can see, it's partly because I've got a contrasting top and leggings on, but I can really see that pelvis rotating from side to side. My ankles are going a little bit as well, but because I'm keeping my head and my shoulders fairly still, shoulders not so much now, and that's absolutely perfect. That's exactly what I want. So it's just this rotation from side to side. It's not so what quite often happens when we rotate, especially when we start to bend the knees, is that we hitch and shorten. So you get the rotation, but you also get this shortening. So there's a change in the level of the hips. With this, it's just there. They're staying on the same plane, and that's actually quite a good thing to do as well. So I've got my hands next to my hips, making sure there's no change. My thumbs are actually tracing the bottom of my top, so I know that I'm not shortening one side or the other. And there's that rotation around the spine, which we're going to come back to in a little bit. Brilliant. Okay. Let's take a narrow mini hip hinge, or a mini hip hinge. So feet are parallel. So thinking about changing the angle at the front of the hips here. So sending the bottom back and coming up, right. So this is just shutting the door behind you, shutting the drawer. Nothing major other than that going on. There's no change to the shape of my spine. This is your brushing your teeth mode. The only change is here, hinging at the hip. It does what it says on the tin. And let's explore holding that back a little bit. Let's build a bit of stamina for this. So if you've got that movement now and you're comfortable with it and it's not causing you any stress or strain, perfect. Let's stay there and let's just build a bit of stamina in the muscles, endurance in the muscles, to be able to sustain that position for a little while. So hopefully you're not feeling any stress. You've connected in the front gently. Ribcage is drawn down to meet the hips. The pelvic floor is lifted slightly, but this next movement is really going to help you switch on that pelvic floor. Let's just have the hands at the hips, at the sides, elbows at the sides. So I want you to imagine that you're sliding, you're trying to ruck your carpet up or your mat up between your feet. You're trying to bring them together, but the soles of the feet are going to stay flat. And as we did at the very beginning, when we push the feet down into the floor and you thought about those 3 points of contact, you've still got the 3 points of contact, maybe a little bit more in the heels than the fronts of the feet. But what I mean is, especially at the front of your feet, no, don't let your ankles collapse. Don't change those 3 pads, if you like. So the legs are squeezing into each other. You should instantly feel some nice work in the tops of the thighs, in that groin. Sending the bottom back, just holding that there. You should be able to lift your toes, wiggle your toes a little bit about. That arch hasn't collapsed. Some strong work going on in the lower back. Breathing, as we did earlier on. So my knees are soft. It might look like I'm doing a narrow squat, but I'm not. My knees are just soft. I've sent my bottom back. Actually, the weight is definitely more in the heels, but don't roll out or roll in on the front of the foot. Keep the front of the foot in contact, equal both sides. Great, and coming up. You might have felt some strong work, might have felt some work going on in the lower back. Absolutely fine, no problem at all. We want to just build that endurance and stamina. Great, so let's go into a little bit of strength work. Bringing your feet together. I'm not sure, I'm going to go this way actually. So I'll face this way first of all. So feet together, completely together for some squats. So same thing as we just did, sending the bottom back, hinging at the hips. Difference is now feet and knees are together. Just bringing the arms forwards as a counterbalance. No change in the spine Watch that those shoulders don't round forwards. Remember the darts we did earlier, pin those shoulders back a little bit. So your arm just swings naturally from the shoulder joint, keeping the chin tucked in. Great. If you can, let's stay down there. I'm just going to clasp my hands just to give myself a little bit of support. We're going to come onto one leg. Just watch me a moment. So I'm going to stay on one leg. Nothing has changed from both feet and knees together. The weight has just transferred over to that side, but it's not a very big transfer. I'm going to release the other leg. I'm going to tap forwards, tap together, tap out to the side, tap together, tap to the back, tap together, to the side, together, and come up. So we're going to do 4 sets all together. So here we go. So feet are together, feet and knees together. Stay down in the deepest part of your squat if you can. I'm going to do that side again because that's my rubbish side. If you can, start on your weaker side, but it's not the end of the world. So release the other heel. Tap straight leg, no weight on it, tap together, tap out to the side, straight leg again, no weight, tap together, tap to the back, there's no change, there's no weight, tap together, tap to the side, tap together. Let's take 3 squats in between. Last one, here we go, staying down, swap sides. We're tapping forwards, together, to the side, together, to the back, together, side, together, and 3 squats in that bottom back. One more time each side, here we go. All the way down, no change, make sure that supporting knee stays over your ankles, to the side. No change in your hips, your pelvis, the sides of your back, and 3 squats, here we go, 3, 2, 1, last set of these, forwards, to the side, together to the back, together to the side, together, and let's leave that there, good job, okay. Adding on slightly to that, probably easiest if I face the camera. Thinking about the rotation of the pelvis, we're going to just come forwards into a little mini hip hinge. So you've got the leg out behind you, there's a straight line through your body here, and I'm pitching forwards. I'm going to face this way because this is where we're going to take that rotation that we were looking at earlier. My back foot is just touching the floor. I want you to just keep your hands on your hips. Think about the pelvis as it was rotating earlier. And you're just going to, so I'm on my right leg and my left leg is back. The leg that's back, doesn't matter which side it is, if you're on the other side, it really doesn't matter. But that leg that's back, think about that hand on that hip, just going towards the other hand. So the pelvis is rotating around your spine. Hands are staying still, elbows are out to the side. My whole spine is actually rotating around itself as well. This is really strong work on your standing leg, buttock and hip. Do a couple more if you can. Whoopsie, quite hard on the balance as well. Coming back, last one, hold this last one if you can. Just reach those hands forwards again to the corner. Everything is square to the corner. You've rotated around the corner and you're just reaching those hands forwards. Clasp your hands, pull your elbows apart a little bit. Hold that there and breathe. Try and lift the top of the head up towards the ceiling. Strong work on that glute, on that standing side. Come back to center. Hand upright if you can. Good. Whew. give that leg a bit of a shake. So there is subtle movements, but very strong in the whole glutes, the pelvic floor, that whole area around your pubic symphysis. Very, very important for your stabilisation of your whole core. Okay, so we're on the other side. So I've pitched forwards. In fact, I'm going to go this way for this side. So I'm here, yeah. Thumbs are at the back of your hips, elbows out to the side. I'm just thinking of this hand that's on the same side as the leg that's behind. I'm just letting it go towards the other hand. And the other hand, to be fair, is moving back because we're rotating. So this is exactly the same as this movement. We're just pitched forwards at a slight angle. So no weight on that back leg. This side might be easier for you, it might be harder. It's a little bit easier for me, as in I'm slightly stronger on this side. Just as uncomfortable. So something I'd really like to think about is your eye line. When you're square to your front, your eyes are looking in a certain position. And in fact, if I put my hand here on my nose, don't let your eyes or your head go further than the rest of your spine. So I'm just going, this is weird. So here's my central line. I'm just taking it only as far as my pelvis is rotating. Couple more if you can. Put that hand back on that hip. And holding it over this time and just reaching those arms forwards. Try not to let the shoulders collapse. Pull your hands apart a little bit. Feel that extra stress into those buttocks. Good strengthening work. And square and stand. Good job. Excellent. Give those legs a good old shake. Fantastic. Brilliant. We are going to come down to the floor. Okay, so feet nice and wide, insteps parallel. Let's take another hinge from the hips, lengthening through the crown of the head. The first thing you're going to find is that hamstring stretch, which we haven't really done much of today. So have a little warm up there if you like, and breathe, and then maybe come up again. So make sure you're truly hinging from here. Nothing is changing in those shoulders. Keeping the chin tucked in. So my chin's a little bit lifted then. Keep the chin tucked in so that you're lengthening the back of the neck. That stays nice and long. Shoulder tips lifted, exactly the same as we did. In fact, let's hold this here. Let's let those arms hang. And again, make that shape that we were doing at the beginning. So allow the arms to just hang towards the floor. You allow your shoulder blades to round around your back and then bring them back into a square box. So the shoulder tips, shoulder blades rounding around the barrel of your back, your rib cage at the back, and then bringing the shoulder tips back so that you're making a square position. Couple more. Round, and at the same time we're getting a lovely stretch on the hamstrings. Breathing. Great. Bring those shoulders back nice and square. Now bring your arms to your sides. Palms are facing each other. You're tucking those arms in a little bit. And now I can see myself sideways on in the mirror. I'm going to bend my knees and I want my spine to lower as one unit, parallel to the floor, and then I'm going to straighten my legs. Bending my knees, I'm warming up those hips. You might want your toes to go out a little bit, making sure those knees go over the toes, which will free up your hips slightly. This is quite strong work. Arms glued to your side, so lifting and lowering like a platform. Brilliant. Let's stay down with those legs bent. This time, take your hands to the floor. Let your head relax. Now allow that back to round out a little bit. Walk the hands forwards, but don't put any weight through them at all. So my ears are by my biceps, my inside of my upper arm, and I'm just stretch my fingertips through a little bit more, and I'm just very gently rocking from side to side, but I'm just thinking of length. Fingertips going away a tiny bit more, relaxing the head, lengthening the tailbone in the opposite direction to the top of your head, and breathing. And then let's just walk forwards onto those hands. Bring your legs in closer together. Come into the plank momentarily if you can. So beautiful, nice straight line. Great, those hands are underneath the shoulders, and then from there lowering both knees at the same time to come onto all fours. Just going to move this one forwards a little bit so I can see what's going on. Okay, brilliant. So we are on all fours. But let's get that one over there for now. So just a good all fours square box position. Think about the shape of your spine. The spine's in its natural curves. Bring the knees together, feet and knees together. Keep the hands underneath the shoulders. Spread those fingers and thumbs far apart. Keep that weight quite forwards over your hands so that you're stressing the wrists a little bit. It's all good. Curl your toes under, squeeze your knees together and lift your knees off and hold that there. Breathing. Again, building the endurance in the muscles. Really, really key thing. If you can't curl your toes under, you can have your feet flat just so you're up on your insteps. If you haven't got strength for that today, just squeeze those knees together for all you're worth. Keep the back of the head and neck long, no allowing the head to hang forwards. Keep lifting up. Think of the top of your head lifting up away from the floor. Keep those knees squeezing together. I just realised I was having a nice little rest there with my knees down. Keep going if you can. Knees are off if you can. If you need to have a break and reset yourself. Brilliant. And relax and lower. Great. Come back onto your hips, onto your heels. Just twiddle those hands around a little bit, fingers around, circle the wrist. Get the blood flow going to those wrists to support them. We've got one more exercise here. This time we're looking at rotation of the thoracic spine. So before we were looking at the rotation of the pelvis independently of the rib cage. Now we're looking at the rib cage independently of the pelvis and the hips and the legs. So we're going to take from all fours. So with your legs hip width apart, we're going to take one leg out behind you. In fact, I'm going to take my other leg just to show you. So watch me a moment. So we're going to take one leg out behind you and keep the foot on the floor. Think about your pelvis being absolutely stable. You're going to take the opposite arm, fingertips to your temples in a salute position. Again, I'm thinking about shoulders, hips absolutely parallel to the floor. From here, I'm going to rotate, lifting up. I'm trying to look past that elbow and whoops, come back to square. It's quite difficult on the balance. So lifting up and coming back. We'll do 3 each side. So you're basically just, I go here without the leg out behind you, you're just lifting up and coming back to a square position. Yeah, just taking that outside rotation. Here we go. So it doesn't matter which side you go. Maybe take your rotation towards the screen first of all. So you want to take the back leg furthest leg away out first. So set your position, think of those 4 points of shoulders and hips, keep them absolutely still, there's no change whatsoever when you extend that leg. Toe is touching the floor, the leg is beautifully straight. You'll want to lean away. Do not lean away, don't change anything in the body. Take the opposite hand away. Elbows out to the side. Think of the line of your shoulders. Think of that line through your shoulder girdle. And now rotate and lift up. Try and look past that hand. This is strong work. Strong work because you're only on one arm. Let's do 3 of these. It's frustrating because you don't go very far. You would quite like to cheat and lean over, distort the position of your back. Place that hand down, bring that leg in, and let's go straight away to the other side. Square everything up. Hopefully there wasn't too much shift when you brought that hand and leg back in. Switch to the other side, take the other hand away. Elbows, from your elbow all the way through your shoulders is a straight line, and you're just opening up that straight line. Now for some reason on this side, I'm a little bit freer. Not quite sure why that is. Maybe it's because of my I don't know actually. Right shoulder. Just noticing for yourself. Keeping those hips absolutely still. You'll want to drop that hip. Place the hand down, bring the leg back in. Let's go feet, toes together, knees nice and wide. Stretch the hips back on the heels and have a very nice roll from side to side with some twiddling with those hands as well. Brilliant. Okay, we're going to look at the difference between the shape of your back in these two seated exercises. So sitting up as tall as possible, feet and knees hip width apart, right up on your sit bones, and hands underneath the backs of your legs. So you could say that here we're almost in, we've got sort of straight lines, straightish lines. So the spine is straight but with its natural curves. And then the angle at the hips, the thighs are coming out at a different angle. So what I want you to do is keep those straight lines and think of opening up into like an L shape. And I'm just going back, keeping everything in the same position, and I'm hanging on to the backs of my legs so that I don't fall backwards. And I'm letting my arms straighten, and then I'm coming upright again. So easing back into that sort of L shape. Just make sure your neck is not too stressed with this. Keep the chin tucked in and coming upright. As opposed to, here's the other one, we're going to round and tuck that pelvis under. Now we're trying to make a curve and a curl all the way around in that lower back. And so now the angle, and I've finished up with my arms straight again, but now I feel like I'm in a C. That's the shape I'm trying to create, as opposed to an L for the first one. Shoulders over the hips and then sit tall again. So you could say this is a sort of squashed L, and then we're opening it out, and then the other one is a C. So let's take the C curve again. So take that pelvis under, really scoop that tummy in. Really, really scoot. So I've gone past my sit bones, I'm on my sacrum, everything is rounded and relaxed. I also feel the need to just open my elbows out a little bit here, so I'm sort of making my arms rounded as well. Just feels quite nice. And then come forwards and sit tall. We're going to add some arm movements to this, which is going to really challenge these, and you're going to feel it on your abdominals. I'm going to come over just a little bit, because otherwise I feel like I'm going to hit the wall. So let's take the straight back one first, so the L shape, if you like. So sitting up nice and tall, leaning back. So you might not want to go too far, just holding it there. Make sure you're nice and switched on in your core. We're going to take one arm away, the other arm away. If you can, one arm up, the other arm up, lower the first arm, lower the second arm, replace the first arm, replace the second arm, coming up. Try that on, leading with the other arm. So we're leaning back, hold that there. Other arm leads, arms forward, so quite low to start with. Now open them out to the side, open them both out to the side. Bring them both back. Let's take them both up. And back down again, hand under, and sit nice and tall. My aunt's phone going off in the background, excellent. It's all going on today. Great, let's try both of those arm positions with the taking the C curve in the spine. It's my mum leaving a lovely long message. Hello, Mum. She's still going. Okay, so sitting tall. Scoop that tummy, rounded back, holding there. Holding that position, so no weight through those feet. Take one arm away, take the other arm away. Lift that arm up, lift it, other arm up to join it, not too far back. Try not to change your position. Lower the arm, hand at the back, coming up and sit tall. One more of these, here we go. So hip flexors a little bit grippy, everything a bit grippy. I can really feel the abdominals working. Come into that C curve, hold it there. Other arm leads and the second arm joins. We're opening both arms out to the side. At the same time, it would be a bit mean to try and do one at a time. You can't go very far. I haven't gone as far as I did with the straight back. Bring them forwards. Let's take them both up. Whoo. Both lowering, replace, round, and sit tall. Oh, yes, well done. Have a little sit back and let those legs relax. Hip flexors very grippy on that one. Good, okay, we're going to lie down on our backs and take some abdominal work. We're going to have our hands behind our back with our, hands behind our head even, with our legs straight. I don't know why I'm going over there, I'm going to go over this way. So, lying back down, however you would like to. Legs out nice and straight. Just take a moment actually to settle your spine. In fact, let's come into the base position first. So just bend those knees and just allow your pelvis to just rock and roll from side to side. I can hear Bodhi snoring. Yeah, we've done quite a lot of work on the lower back today, so this just feels quite nice. In fact, let's just do this very quickly as well, which wasn't on my lesson plan, but this is going to be nice. It's called hip drops, and it's from Bones for Life. It's just about making an impact through the bones to keep the bones nice and healthy. Basically, from your base position, you will lift your hips up a little bit. And then take a double slap. It's a slap, it's a crash. You're making shock waves. There's a reverberation. The second one, you really relax the second one. One of my clients a long time ago called this the basil brush, because it was a boom boom, boom boom. But you have to be of a certain age to have any idea what I'm talking about there, but it feels quite nice. Thing to do is it's not a great big hip lift, and you're not forcing the hips down, it's just lifting them up enough to make that weight. And you can hear my floorboards all crashing around today as well. And it's almost a little bit addictive actually. So it should be fairly similar pace to your heart rate. Boom, boom, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. And then just take a little moment that hopefully will feel quite nice. A little bit sort of, what's the word? It feels sort of energised and alive, if you like. Okay, so I just wanted you to be very aware of the shape of your spine, especially that lower back curve for our abdominals, and making sure that you're in a good neutral, which hopefully you now will be. So we're just going to place the hands at the back of the head, interlace the fingers, bring those elbows forwards. So remember, for our abdominal work, the head is heavy in the hands. Let's stay in the base position a moment. Head is heavy in the hands. You could just test it by lifting your head slightly off of the floor. You can wiggle your head around. When you lower your head back down, there's no relaxation of the neck muscles specifically, because you didn't use your neck muscles, you used your arms. So your arms, your hands are a huge, great baseball glove, and your head is as heavy as a bowling ball. That's the analogy I like to use. When we're taking, so you've got all this wonderful support for your head in your hands and your arms, so you absolutely don't need to use the neck. So let's keep the head down for the moment, but keep the hands there. Stretch the legs away and flexing the feet. So flexing the feet as if you're standing. So if you do, just lift your head up and have a little look. Feet should be nice and parallel. Get the soles of your feet flat, as in don't let them curl around. The little toe side tends to go further away from you. Get them nice and flat as if you're standing. Yeah, legs are parallel. Check that your head is heavy in your hands. Your spine, your pelvis should be nice and level. Spine is in its natural curves. Pubic bone level with those hip bones, so you know you're in your neutral. Let's just take some plain old abdominal curls. Coming up, you're clearing the shoulder blades. Breath out, breath in. Make sure that you're not lifting the head out of the hands. Breath out, breath in. But I'm never worried whether you're using your breathing specifically or not. I just would like you to just keep the right muscles switched on, mainly because we tend to relax when we lower. You haven't got time to relax when you lower with this. There's tension all the way there. Okay, so come up to comfy position. So comfy position is where I've lifted my head and shoulders off slightly, but my shoulder blades, I can still push my shoulder blades, wiggle my shoulder blades around in the mat. So that's comfy position. As opposed to, and in fact let's go from comfy position to a full abdominal curl. So comfy position here, shoulder blades tips touching the mat. Now clear them. Clear them by 1 centimetre, back to comfy. Clear and comfy. Clear and comfy. This is strong work. Clear and comfy. Clear and comfy. Okay, so let's stay in comfy position. Make sure that head is relaxed, neck is relaxed. We're going to flex the feet as we are. We're going to turn the legs out in the hip socket. We're going to point the feet. We're going to bring them both back to parallel. Flex, parallel, turn them out, point the feet, parallel. Flex, turn out, point and parallel. Flex. Turning the leg out from the hip socket, pointing the feet. The only bit that changes there is the ankles and the toes. Parallel in the hip socket, flex at the ankle. Let's turn out now, and then we're going to take heel beats. And if you want to work harder, clear those shoulder blades. We're opening the legs slightly, just to the width of the mat, the width of your shoulders. We're bringing the heels together, flexed feet, and then pointed feet next time, and flexed, and pointed, and flexed, and pointed, and try and clear those shoulder blades. This is hard work. Flex, and point, and flex, and point, and flex, and point, and flex, and point, and let's have a little relax there. Good job. Okay, one last thing. Bit on the obliques. in this position. So you're going to flex your feet again. You're going to have your legs nice and straight, exactly as they are. You're going to take one hand down to the floor in a low V, and take the other hand at the back of the head. But the hands, fingers nice and spread apart, so that you're creating a base for the back of your head. I'm thinking about this elbow, and it's like I'm peeling the corner of the smoked salmon packet off, and then I'm placing it back down again, as far as my shoulders are concerned. So this elbow that's up, that's the shoulder, that's the corner I'm peeling off. And I'm thinking about taking this elbow up towards the ceiling. In fact, I'm going to let my head just go a little bit more naturally towards the corner. The other shoulder blade is staying glued to the floor, but the really key thing is my pelvis, my hips, my legs are staying absolutely square. So I'm getting this nice crisscrossy action in your obliques. That's what we're after. I'm reaching this hand away a little bit on the floor as well. Here we go. Let's do about 8 on each side. So lifting up, should feel a wonderful bit of crunching going on. Not crunching as such, but you should feel some muscle activation around your waist, just above your hips. Head is supported. I'm sort of looking up towards the corner of the room, up towards the camera actually. This elbow is lifted, up. Don't know how many I've done. Completely lost count. I'm going to do one more. I reckon about 8. Maybe let's do 10 on the other side. So swapping over. Hips stay square, hand is flat. As you're coming up, you're lifting that elbow up towards the ceiling, sliding the other hand along the floor. Pelvis is staying absolutely still. Don't let this same side follow you. So the same side as the elbow that's going up, that hip will want to roll over towards the corner as well. Don't let that happen. If you're not feeling a good sensation of twisting around just above your hip bones, then you are not quite doing this right. Maybe you need to keep the legs a little bit more fixed. Shouldn't be any strain on that neck. Keep the head heavy in that hand. Peel the corner off and then change your mind. Let's do 2 more. Again, I have no idea how many we've done. I'm too thinking about having smoked salmon and scrambled egg for lunch now. Brilliant. Okay, we are going to set ourselves up. Let's go onto our tummies for the dart, because that's what we did when we were standing up in the warm-up. And then it's a really nice all fours thing that I wanted to finish off with today. So coming down onto your tummies, we're just going to take the upper body part of the dart, which is what we did when we were standing. So legs are hip width apart, parallel or slightly turned out. Tip of the nose is touching the mat. Watch me if you have no idea what we're about to do. If you know how to do the dart, then you could start with me. So tip of the nose is hovering off the floor. I'm going to allow those shoulders to round forwards all the way. Arms are completely relaxed. The backs of the hands are heavy on the mat. I'm going to lift the back of my head and neck up a tiny bit. It won't actually go very far unless I lift my chin, and then I get wrinkles at the back of the neck. So it'll only go so far. I'm going to hold that there. There's been no change in the shape of the height of my spine. Then I'm just going to do the shoulder tips, coming into that straight line from one side to the other. So join in with me if you haven't already. So we're letting those shoulder tips, fronts of the shoulders, round towards the floor. See if you can get them both touching evenly. You might not, but see if you can. Lift the shoulder tips up so that you're in that lovely straight line from one side to the other. Let them relax. I'm not lifting and lowering my head. I'm not lifting and lowering my back. Just those shoulders. Taking it from a curved shape to a lovely straight line. Hands are heavy, backs of the hands are heavy. Elbows staying as relaxed as possible. You might find that you're bending your arms and lifting your elbows as well. Try not to. That means you're using the muscles in the backs of your arms to help get the job done. Try and make it all about those shoulder blades around your spine, and then we're lifting those shoulder tips up, holding that there. Now we're going to lift the arms up. Still, backs of the hands down, palms are up to the ceiling. Now I'm going to lift my back much more as I spread the fingers and the thumbs far apart. Turn those palms down, thumbs are away from the body. I've lifted up, I'm reaching my fingertips towards my toes. I've slightly turned my legs out, push my pubic bone into the mat. I'm going to hold that there a moment and then turn the palms up, let the arms relax down and let everything collapse and relax. One more of those, here we go. Lifting the back of the head and neck up, lift the shoulder tips only, lift the arms only. Now here we go for the whole shebang. Turn the legs out, rotate the arms in that shoulder socket, thumbs are out to the sides, fingertips reaching towards the feet. Can you get that back up a little bit higher but keep that chin tucked in? Push the pubic bone into the mat, hold it there, circling those arms inwards with your little finger towards your body, a golf ball size circle at your fingertips. Nearly said tennis ball then. Keep going the same way, inwards, holding everything there, and have a good old collapse. Wonderful. Come up onto all fours. Brilliant. So you should feel that this is a really nice thing to do now. Some spine circles. So we've got vertical spine circles, both directions. Take that rib cage round and up and down and back. Then we've got horizontal spine circles. Spread the fingers and the thumbs. Go from side to side. Take those shoulders forwards. Make sure you've changed direction. Feel the top of the thigh in the hip socket. Feel that joint getting all nicely lubricated. Wonderful. Come back to all fours. Square box. Take some sit bone circles, which is where you tuck under with your pelvis, really rounding that back. Come forwards so your shoulders are over your hands. Arch your lower back and go back again. Tuck under and arch to go back. You can, if you want to, when you arch to go back, bend your arms a little bit. But actually, I prefer today, if you try and keep those arms fairly straight and still all the way through, because I've got another lovely movement coming up, which my Pilates teacher did in class today. I think it's a Garuda style movement. So we're there. Great. So if there's anything else you want to do or you've had enough, that's absolutely fine. If you want a little bit more of a challenge with this one, try and just do this beginning bit for me anyway. So I'm going to curl my toes under and now I'm lifting and pushing my chest back into a downward dog. So you could just stay here, do this a couple of times. You could take the hips all the way back. So toes curled under, lifting the hips up, push the chest back. It's a really nice calf stretch. You could move from side to side. When you're ready to come out of it, bring your shoulders forwards, lower both knees with control. Could do that. Or you could take this movement, which is a continuation of similar to what we've just done. Curling those toes under, pushing your chest back for that downward dog, lifting your heels up, and then from here tucking that pelvis under. Bringing those shoulders forwards over the hands and then tilting that pelvis to go back again. So we're coming up, tucking under, shoulders are over the hands, tilt that pelvis, arch back, push those heels down. One more if you're with me on this one.
round that spine. It's strong work. And then you're all the way back. I'm going to walk my hands. I'm going to walk my hands into the, no, that's my feet. I'm going to walk my feet into the middle. I'm going to walk my hands back to join my feet. My legs are bent. I'm going to roll up, letting those arms hang, just for the sake of whatever. I'm going to adjust my clothing and my hair as I get to the top. Well done everyone, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that Pilates class B for this week. Thank you.